Big Zay.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
We're still trying to pick through things and figure out what's going to happen, and the game is inching ever closer, Brad. We're already just inching close and closer, and I don't know how to feel any better or worse about it. I remain as confused as I have been. These two teams, as we've mentioned several times, the last time either team won was against each other. So who has the advantage as a result of that? It's a difficult one to look at. Obviously, home field should matter, but will it in a rivalry game? And the fact that you're facing them and you're so familiar with them already this year, it is a really interesting thing to try to register who's got an advantage and who doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's a real toss-up game as we sit here January 8th, guys. 2 years to the day that there were signs throughout the parkway leading into Hallis Hall. We want Justin, in Justin, we trust in things of that nature. You know, at the time you saw them, you thought, where in the world did these come from? Who would do this? Or were these signs planted by Packers fans coming across the border to poke fun at the Bears?
Wow.
I'm being dead serious. So that was 2 years ago this morning, to give you an idea of how far the organization has traveled, not just since the mess that was the regular season a year ago with Eberflus and firings and things of that nature, but with people, if it wasn't Packers fans poking fun at the Bears, there were people that thought Justin Fields was the answer.
And just for context, a year ago at this time, we were debating Thomas Brown as a candidate to be the Bears' permanent head coach.
Maybe you were debating that, Dave. I don't.
Well, he was on the list of guys to be interviewed. I'm not saying I was, but his name was in. He was the interim head coach. Brad, don't have to be snide about it.
Didn't they interview Pete Carroll too?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Point being that they've come a long way in a year. Not that anybody is satisfied necessarily. You have to finish the job. I think that the Bears now on Saturday night, Brad, I wonder, as you consider all kinds of outcomes and possibilities, the decision by the Packers to rest their players. And then it was, in contrast, the decision by the Bears to play their players going in, even though that you could make the argument that resting might have made sense. Do you think that will have any impact? Do you think that is going to be one of these things coming out of it? If the Bears struggle, it's going to be a rest versus rust discussion, and whether or not Ben Johnson should have approached it differently.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Johnson wanted to get that 2 seed. I think as you look at it right now, there's some real value to that. And regardless of what happens Saturday night, there's value to that 2 seed. And there's people in Philadelphia that are questioning the approach by Nick Sirianni, because had they taken that Week 18 game against the Commanders more seriously, they probably would have won that game. And you'd be looking at the Eagles as the 2 seed right now, and the Bears is a 3. With the Packers, I think it's a completely different story for a couple reasons. First of all, they've got 15 players on injured reserve, and they've been hit hard with injuries here at the end of the year. Like last week alone, they made 20 transactions in terms of one guy up, one guy down, one guy back, So that, coupled with the fact that they were the 7 seed, no matter what happened in their finale, I think it's a apples and oranges discussion between what Matt LaFleur had as a consideration and what Ben Johnson had as a consideration. And the Bears, listen, defensively, they were brutal against San Francisco. They probably needed to get back out there and see if they could tighten things up. Certainly from a points allowed perspective, they made strides. but when you see Jared Goff and the Lions roll up 430 yards offense or whatever it wound up being, you hope for much better Saturday night.
It was interesting in that light to hear from Dennis Allen and to hear him sort of. I don't believe he was parroting, but he effectively said the same thing that the head coach said earlier in the week, that they did enough, and it's all about points, and they held Detroit to enough points to win the game, that basically they didn't they were on the field for too long and the offense couldn't get some things done. It was weird to me to hear a defensive coordinator be positive about a poor defensive performance, and I felt like that kind of triggered me a little. Like that, like he's trying to be positive because that's as good as the defense can do, and that's going to be a problem coming up on Saturday night. If that's the best they can do, then that means the Bears better run the hell out of the ball, stay on the field the whole game, and just reduce as many possessions as they can, because the Bears are struggling to stop people.
Yeah, well, the key very well could come down to how they perform in the red zone, which they were good against Detroit. They were outstanding against the Packers in the Week 16 game.
Yeah,
and they were, run over by a bus in San Francisco. So 2 of the last 3 weeks, they've been excellent. I want to say Packers and Lions combined them, opponents 1 for 8 or 1 for 9 in the red zone, which is a recipe for winning football. Go out to San Francisco and the 49ers are 5 for 5, and the Bears are quite fortunate that was a 4-point loss. So, yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it is about points allowed. They know they need to play well in the red zone, and they've got to find a way, guys. They have got to find a way to start getting off the field a little bit better. Like, they went from being so good on third down to it's a real problem. And if you look at the 2 Packer games here at the end of the year, the San Francisco game and the Detroit game, so we're taking 4 of the 5 games at the end of the season. We're pulling the Browns game out because they're the Browns and they had Shador. Those 4 opponents, 27 of 47 on third down against the Bears. That's over 57%, which is why third down defense that was top 5, top 6 in the league, top 10 in the league through the first half of the season, more than the first half of the season, has absolutely plummeted. Like the Bears, I think the Bears finished 22nd in the red zone at nearly 41%. So they've been hit. They've been hit hard. Jordan Love, by the way, guys, 3rd and 7 or more this season. So that's where you want the opposing quarterback to be, right? About 3rd and 7, third or more. Passer rating of 110.4. So he's really good in those situations, and it's been a little bit of everything. Like, part of it is they haven't played well on the early downs, so the opponents are getting in the third and manageable, 3rd and 3 or less. But 3rd and 7 or more in those games that I referenced, 2 against the Packers, San Francisco, and Detroit, 8 for 17. So you can't have that. It's not all on the cornerbacks. The pass rush, it hasn't been meshed up. So they've got to find a way to disrupt Jordan Love more effectively and have some stickier coverage on the back end.
So, Brad, we know you have a good grasp of the bottom of the Bears roster. So when you look at Rome Odunze likely to be active and saying yesterday how much of a role he hopes to play in the passing game, at whose expense will that come? What receiver will be either inactive or less involved? Can you look that far ahead and project?
Well, I don't know that you're making anybody inactive, because you have to feel like there's almost zero chance of his foot being an issue again. But the first one that probably comes to mind is Ja'Day Walker, right? And you cut in sort of that playing time that he had been getting and doing all right with, and he's a guy with I think they believe he's got a real bright future ahead of him, which is a credit to the scouting staff to get a guy like that undrafted and you're looking. But Walker had 20 snaps against the Lions, double that out in San Francisco, and almost 20 snaps against Green Bay the first time around. 25 snaps probably sounds about right for Rome, considering the time he's missed. Just sort of ballparking it. So that I think that would be the first consideration, and then it's going to be really interesting to see how they want to go at Green Bay. Do they want to go with a heavy dose of two tight end personnel, which they did against the Lions? Do they want to trend back toward more three wide receivers? More three wide receivers is given opportunities for snaps for all those wideouts. If they want to go more 12, then you're sort of mixing and matching with the wideouts, and you can maybe play to the strengths of those guys in certain situations.
How much do you rely on the scouting you did in the previous two games? I mean, the Bears are playing a team that has changed quite a bit, and it seems like it's changing even in this third game. The Bears seem fairly similar. It's not like they are overturning their roster, but there's, 4 or 5 key players that have been in and out of these games for Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have changed a ton this season themselves in terms of improvement. Like, the Packers aren't making changes to try to disguise what they're doing. They're making changes out of. So I still think that you're looking at the history of the coaches, how those players have been deployed, the positions, that is, and understanding to a pretty high degree of how they're going to want to attack the Bears, both ways, right? And so there's a chess match involved here. They've got not only history against each other, but you're seeing a ton of crossover tape as it goes during the year, because you're watching Green Bay play Detroit. You're watching Green Bay play Minnesota. You're watching Green Bay play other NFC teams that you're going to encounter. So neither side's got an edge here in terms of that. It's just something that, who puts together a plan for their team where the players can go out and execute best in the high leverage situations. And this should be a really close game, right? I feel pretty strongly about that. I think that they're evenly matched. And if you've got, 130 snaps in the ball game total, or it'll be something in that range, this thing could come down to 3 or 4 plays, and you don't know if it's going to be play 130. It could be play 17. That's a pivotal one, but I think they're evenly matched, and I think it should be highly entertaining.
You listen to some of the rhetoric coming out of Green Bay. I agree with you, by the way, in terms of the way you project coming down to a handful of plays, evenly matched teams. I wonder, is Austin Booker a marked man? And does the rhetoric coming out of Green Bay suggest that there's a preoccupation with getting back at a guy that maybe knocked Jordan Love into concussion protocol and feeling like that was a dirty hit?
Well, that would be real stupid, because 15-yard penalties are costly at any time. If you go out and get yourself a 15 yard penalty because you want to get back at some guy in the postseason, that probably sends a greater message that you're not real bright than that you are actually tough. And I get the Packers being upset about that, and I think if you flip it around, the Bears would feel very much the same way about a situation if it was reversed, and if it was Caleb who had been dinged up in a game against the rival. But you know, the only way to truly exact revenge here is to, if you want to get Austin Booker, you block him up, right? You keep him off your quarterback. You punish him in the run game when you want to run the football, and you try to win the game. But so I think the players have probably got some questions about it, but I'd be surprised if Green Bay wanted to do something that wasn't real bright, because you can't give up 15 yards in a playoff game. That would be mindless. And the Bears started that last game with a lack of composure themselves, right?
True. The body surfing by DeMarco Jackson.
DeMarco Jackson, like,
nuts.
What are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
I think what Cole Kmet said after the game, like, you know, our fans were upset at some of the calls against us, but there were probably penalties, you know. So we'll see.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Estwing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years. Estwing.com. Brad, I mentioned to David, if you got any prop bets related to Tyreek Stevenson, I might not make those, because yesterday Dennis Allen was asked 3 times about why the guy didn't play, and 3 different times he basically said, well, he's behind guys that are better than him, and we heard that earlier in the week as well. Is there anything else going on with Tyreek Stevenson? Is he just buried on the depth chart behind a couple of guys that might not be playing great but are playing better than he is?
Yeah, I'm going to take Dennis Allen and Al Harris at their word. Let's recognize that Tyreek is, when the previous coaching staff wasn't over the moon about him, it was because he hadn't been completely dialed in on all the details.
Right.
Okay. And so is it possible that they felt like he wasn't as sharp with the game plan or assignments as they would have preferred? Maybe. I don't know. I just know that, Dennis said he thinks he's going to need all of them on Sunday. And, I think the conversation's a little bit over the top when it's not like Tyreek's played at an all-star level this season.
Yeah.
Like he's logged 560 snaps for a defense that's near the bottom of the league in total yards, run defense, pass defense. He's been out there when this third down defense is absolutely torpedoed. Bears giving up more points than most teams. Like he's got all that stuff on his resume as well. Jalen didn't play well. He's going to need a full off season to get back to the player that he can be.
Yep.
Nashawn struggles with short area quickness, and when receivers get him turned around, and they've got to be better across Kyler Gordon. You're wondering right now, what can Kyler Gordon give them Saturday night? Well, it's a low bar to clear to give more than they were getting from C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Got to, though. You got to rely on him. You got to use him.